Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG Red Stage. There are some people still here, as you can see.
It's never too late for esports, John.
No, I don't think so.
Especially for the match we're going to be having right now.
Oh,
this is actually probably my most anticipated match. It might be one of the craziest matches. Why don't you introduce maybe who we're going to be watching here?
We definitely could do that, and we probably should do that as our guys are getting ready in the booth and ready to get started. The first guy you're going to be seeing today is someone you should be very much familiar with, from his antics at MLG to his multiple GSL championships. From Team SK, it is MC!
Oh, I could not be more excited about that. And we haven't even talked about his opponent right now.
Oh, just a little guy.
You know, a little guy that you may have heard of. He's from Team Incredible Miracles. He has won 4 GSLs, is actually the only person to do such a task. It is going to be MVP. Oh my god, it's going to be so sick.
Ah, this is ridiculous. This is a GSL final happening in the round of 16 at MLG Dallas.
Oh, now one of these players who I would say is easily the favorite to win this tournament. Consistently good players. MC, I want to mention, also has a second place at GSL, so he's got 3 little medals, but MVP with 4 first place is the only player, as I mentioned, to ever do that. I can't imagine a more epic match here. It's kind of sad in a way that it's in the round of 16, but I get to cast it, and I love that.
Well, when you have a tournament as stacked as this kind of thing is going to happen.
Yes. Yes. First of all, we have to talk about one of our beautiful, beautiful sponsors.
That we do.
Without them, MLG would be ran out of my basement. That's all they'd be able to afford. So, of course, one of the sponsors is Mad Catz. And I actually learned about this controller a little bit today. TB, I feel like there's almost enough buttons you can actually play StarCraft on it. There's so many buttons on there.
I heard of a guy that was actually playing StarCraft on an Xbox 360 pad. He's sadly better than me, which is really kind of embarrassing. But I'm pretty sure he just cheeses, so it's okay.
That's true. But with the fancy Mad Catz, the Pro bundles there, you can actually get the MLG version, which is pretty amazing. I gotta get the MLG Pro version of a keyboard, man. Where's those? But Mad Catz making awesome stuff. They've been sponsoring MLG for quite some time.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
Yeah, for a long time now, so always a big shout out to them. They are great.
Absolutely. Head on over to the link that was displayed right there for up to 45% off. And, of course, we should not forget what's been going on with the MLG Pro Shop. 15% discount code available for you right there. Anything you want, go grab it from mlgproshop.com and support Major League Gaming with direct merchandise and cool stuff for your wardrobe.
Yeah, if we can just leave that up there for just a second. I actually recently had a ton of people tweeting me trying to get that code. There's a lot of MLG stuff there, and definitely grab the code right now. Go check out the shop. Just see. We're still setting up the game right now, so you might as well see what's there. And 15% discount, not too shabby. Oh my god. I seriously cannot believe I'm going to cast this game. I am so excited. I feel like I'm kind of a weird, awkward Artosis right now, casting at the GSL for this awesome, awesome match that's about to happen.
Do I get to be tasteless?
Yeah.
Gotta do that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be very good at that, I don't think. I think tasteless is the best tasteless.
Yeah, and he's got more of a raspy voice. I don't know if you could
definitely
pull that one or not. I have the high-pitched, annoying voice, which Artosis also doesn't have, so gonna be tough to pull it off, but we will try.
We will do our best.
Oh man, the first map is going to be Star Station. Of course, this is going to be a TVP, which we've seen quite a bit of. Terran players doing very well in the tournament so far, although on Blue Stream over there, I actually got to cast Rain, locking down those drops non-stop, as it was absolutely amazing. But I have just got confirmation that both players are indeed. Well, let's make sure. Is MC ready?
Yep, they were just getting the aircon changed in the booths right now, because obviously they don't want to be freezing their hands. You've had personal experience with that, if I recall correctly, at the Blizzard launch event.
The Blizzard launch event. Apparently, it's hard to play StarCraft when you're outside for 7 hours in the freezing cold. So hopefully they're nice and toasty. I think both players are ready.
I think
TB,
so.
are you ready?
I'm absolutely ready. So I suppose the only question remaining is, ladies and gentlemen in the crowd, are you ready?
I'm going to be honest, if they weren't ready for this match, they are not ready for StarCraft, because this is the epitome of StarCraft. This is between 2 of the best players in the world, 2 of the most successful players. Last I checked, MC was still the most winningest player. I'm not sure if that's still accurate, but he has been in like the top 1 to 2 for a very, very long time.
Let's just say he has stolen a lot of esports dollars from a lot of very sad and lonely nerds. He is making bank and he's a scary individual indeed. Let's see how he can apply his skills here. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. One of the new Heart of the Swarm maps, of course, goes by the name of Star Station. That is where we are right now, and this is the guy we're going to start with. In the red trunks, playing Protoss to the southwest. Give it up for SKMC!
So many MC fans here. I saw him playing pool in the lobby. He lost to Sase in pool.
He is quite literally dreadful at pool.
Yeah, no, that was horrible, but a little bit better at StarCraft. We'll see if he can use that. But up in the top right side, we introduced him a little bit, but please make some noise for I Am MVP!
Man, there really is no favorite going into this matchup. Perhaps MC, the fan favorite, thanks to his antics and awesome persona, but you've got to give it up for MVP, the most consistent, successful StarCraft 2 player thus far of all time. And so far, from what we've seen of him in this tournament, he's not breaking a stride. Although, in this matchup earlier on, he did drop a map to Feast and almost dropped a second one as well. He looks a little vulnerable in this matchup, and MC, of course, will be the kind of person to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, and just in researching MC's playstyle, his success, and all of that, I think it's kind of mostly universally accepted that he has been consistently good. It's not a player who has really high highs and then tanks out for a year. He has been one of the only players who has been valuable, one of the only players who has been consistent since even the game first came out. So always going to be feeling very confident on stage. He's quite the entertainer as well. And the thing I like about MVP is he could never do an interview. He could never talk to anybody. He could have a mask on and people would still love him just based on his results alone. And I have no predictions here. I would say MC might be a slight favorite if MVP is feeling uncomfortable in this matchup at all. But, I mean, it's still anybody's game.
It's really hard to say if he is or he's not. I mean, we're talking about Feast, somebody that has not been playing a huge amount lately and someone that MVP wouldn't have had a lot of experience playing against. So he could get caught off guard. MC, on the other hand, he's got to run into him pretty much every day. In fact, they are quite literally practice partners because, of course, SK is partnered with LGIM for the GSTL. So they must play all the time. Now, the question is who's going to be aggressive. Most likely, we're going to see aggression come out of MC simply based on the history of what this guy likes to do. He doesn't like to sit around. He likes to do damage. We're actually even seeing a reactor coming out on the barracks straight away here on one base here, and there's the command center going down for MVP. So, you know, that's 50 seconds of not producing Marines. Mother Core's on its way, and he also grabbed 2 gas pretty early on. So what we might see is that early Stalker Mothership Core aggression that has proven to be effective harass and can lead into a game-winning situation.
Yeah, there are some situations where that early Mothership Core harass can end up hurting you. We saw that in the games that I was casting over on Bluestream right before this, where, you know, if you miss any of the units coming out of the base, and all of a sudden you have nothing back at home to defend. We do have a Stargate on the way here from MC.
Stuff.
This is actually something that I haven't seen all that much. The only Stargate I've seen was a proxy Oracle. It didn't work out, so I'm really curious to see here from MC. Is he going to go for the Oracle? Void Rays, always a good choice in Heart of the Swarm, at least right now. But I love this early factory from MVP. Kind of curious to see what he does with it.
Certainly. Now, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. Widow Mines would make sense, and there's one right there just for a little bit of early defense. Really nice for knocking down Stalkers. They do one-shot them now, thanks to the upgrade against Shield. Excellent defense as well, potentially against Oracles. You put one of those in the mineral line, Oracle comes along, it instantly just gets blown to pieces, which is really nice. An Oracle is what's going to be coming out here. Harassment potential is extreme, but it's also very much kind of a high-risk reward unit. There are times when you spend a lot of gas in Oracles and they just get shot out of the sky because they're just made of paper. They're really, really easy to kill, and they don't have a lot of hit points. Or, alternatively, they could destroy an entire mineral line.
Looks like MC is going to be aggressive. You're actually taking a lot of damage on that first Stalker. Does manage to kill 1 Marine, and right there, MVP was actually trying to block the Nexus. Ended up losing that there, and MC didn't break his stride as the Sentry was able to deal with that. And the recall out of there, which means not enough energy right now for anything else, but he did save those units.
Yeah, I mean, in and of itself, that's actually a win for MVP because he backed his opponent into a corner and forced it to burn on a recall. Recall is 100 energy. That's significant. So that means there's not going to be a time warp available or a photon overcharge for quite some time. It also means that he's not going to be moving in with ground aggression anytime soon, but that's okay because he's got an Oracle. He didn't
build all that many of them. He's only built 2, and he's actually just sent 1 in there initially. Is he going to keep that out of sight and wait for the second Oracle?
Yeah, I really, really like... Oh, the Oracle is actually going to move in
Absolutely
right
not.
now. No
right
defense here. There's no Viking on the way. MC already up to 3 kills here. Gonna get a total of 5 before all is said and done. The Marines right here, he has just enough to take on the Oracle directly, which is why you don't see MC staying around too much longer, and cancels the beam there so he can begin regenerating that energy. I want to say one awesome thing an MVP did there is he had the Widow Mine at the entrance. This was a little bit earlier, and then if he didn't recall, then MC would have ran into that Widow Mine, so just preemptively trying to predict what might have happened. There is going to be a drop on the left side. At the same time, the Oracle is going to be moving on the right side. He has enough to take out these Marines. Is there enough anti-air? Where's the Viking? Nowhere to be found. He decided not to make one, but the drop away. The Phoenix going to intercept the drop.
Looking to do it. Widowmite be dropped. Widowmite gets lifted. MC grabs the Widowmite. Second Widowmite dies before it detonates. Excellent drop defense here by MC.
And Oracle up here, 10 kills in the main base. MVP hugely behind, 28 supply to 57. What a super fast start here to this series. And the Oracle is still there, could activate it for some more kills. Unfortunately, MVP is just falling apart here. He can't get out enough Marines. Finally, just now, when the Oracle runs out of energy, can he do that? And it's one of those things I've been asking, why are Protoss not going Stargate more? Use the Phoenix to stop the drops. Use the Oracles to try and harass. MC, in this game at least, is making it work.
It's a great answer to Widow Mines. It really is. You can grab the Widow Mine before it burrows. You've got a good 3 seconds to do it. You can shoot down the medevac. You've got the speed to keep up. Phoenix being one of the fastest units in the game. You can do that. And now more damage is being done to MVP. MC with a huge supply lead.
Yeah, I really don't know how MVP can actually come back from this. I mean, that was so many workers killed, only 22 to 42. Now, normally you would expect a Protoss player to be slightly ahead just because of Chrono Boost. That's completely standard, but not by such a drastic margin at all. We have the Robo now on the way, and at this point, he hasn't overcommitted to the Phoenix. He has 4 with a 5th one on the way, but I think at this point, he might be able just to make so many Phoenix that MVP can never get out enough anti-air.
It's definitely a possibility. The thing is that you lift up a Marine and it dies like that so incredibly quickly. And because of the range upgrade, you can also pick off medevacs. And that one's going down as well. Ripped from the sky. You know, I get this impression that people don't like medevacs very much. Do you have that kind of idea?
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of medevacs and not many of them dying, so it's very exciting to see such a thing. We do have a lot of Phoenix now, and he is continuing with this Phoenix harassment. The Oracle moving in, 15
All the Marines are airborne.
That is officially a master-level Oracle right there. MC showing that Protoss harassment is back. The new units are not something to be trifled with. Yep, and you got to remember that they did buff the Phoenix, giving it a little bit of an extra range. And on this map, there's so much dead space, your Phoenix and Oracle can sit around forever and survive for a long, long time.
That's very, very true. 6 Phoenixes on the field, as well as an Oracle Mothership Core and a hell of a lot of probes. Good tech coming in behind this. Double Forge Colossus. He is playing it nice and safe. He knows that MVP can come back from ridiculous situations, but with this amount of economic damage, is it really possible? Well, I suppose it depends if MC intends to let MVP just sit back and get his mining going again, and it looks like he's not willing to do that. He's going to keep harassing.
Yeah, I mean, he should keep harassing here, staying active with the Phoenix. He knows everything that's going on. Those medevacs are not going to have a chance to ever drop, which is exactly what we've seen a lot of Terran players try and utilize. The supply block from MVP finally being lifted here. Thankfully, not literally by these Phoenix. I think they're going to be delaying those supply depots quite a bit throughout this game. But you can see, not surprisingly, MC delaying the air tech. He needs to make sure to actually get out some real meaty units, because Phoenix can only get you so far once the Marines start rolling.
Yeah, I mean, especially with +1 and Stim, Phoenixes are not really a good answer. They do die a little bit quickly. Oracles as well. This, the Stim, nice, really, really late, honestly, being delayed so much by the harassment here from MC, which has been perfect, but now that it's starting to kick in, the upgrades are there, the medevacs are there, it's a little bit more difficult to engage directly. He can pick at the medevacs maybe, which is definitely not a bad idea, just to soften his opponent up before the big push comes in. But right now, there definitely is not an answer to those Colossi that are coming onto the field.
Definitely do not count MVP out just yet. If you can find a way to deal with the Phoenix. Unfortunately for Terran, there's really no way to deal with the Phoenix unless you have a lot of Vikings or a lot of Marines. What I mean by that is those Phoenix, as long as MC controls them, they'll at least stay alive until a major battle happens, and that's very frustrating. You don't have fungal growth or something like that to quite deal with it. So really MC, as long as he doesn't kind of flub his micro, is going to be fine, but MVP gonna go ahead and go for Vikings here, which is the correct choice, but the problem is that the Phoenix are going to be absorbing the damage. You really want the Vikings to be attacking the Colossus directly.
Yeah, you need to be very careful with your focus fire there, and even then you're going to be getting picked at by the Phoenix and the Stalkers, which makes things a lot more difficult. You can't just essentially A-move the Vikings and have them attack the only thing which is airborne, which is, of course, the Colossi in that regard. So it could be a little bit tricky for MVP, especially since he is on a supply deficit quite severely here. The army for MC is starting to get really good. He's getting Blink, he's got extended thermal lance, he's got +1/+1, so he's ahead in terms of his upgrades in comparison to MVP.
Also ahead in his economy, and really in every single way that he can be. He's going to be playing it extremely safe right now, and does look like there's going to be a slight issue with MC, but I got to say, he is basically in such good shape right now that I really don't know what MVP can do, because the thing you got to remember about Protoss versus Terran is that the only thing Terran has to get an advantage with when they're behind is to get an absolute crazy concave and destroy everything. When it's a situation where Protoss players have the tech advantage, have the econ advantage, and are basically getting whatever it is they want, it's so tough. There's no Psy Storm, there's no fungal, there's no AoE thing that's just going to kill everything when you're Terran. EMP's okay, I guess, but it's definitely not comparable in this situation.
Well, it's also a case of HOTS does offer the Hellbat as a possibility there, but you have to start to work towards it. You need to have your armory up, which MVP does not have yet. He hasn't even got to his 2-2 upgrades. And you have to have a lot of them. And you also have to have the right kind of composition to make it work out. And the Terran's option in this situation, it looks like we will, of course, be going for... We will be able to use the take command feature to get right back into the game at this moment, so we will not be forcing a regame here, thankfully. But the scenario is that even drops, the kind of thing that a Terran can use to catch up, he can't do it because there's too much Phoenix in the air. The air superiority is firmly in the hands of the Protoss, and that's not going to be changing for quite some time.
Yeah, and that's a very good point you make, where drops used to be okay versus Protoss. You saw it a little bit. It kind of phased out a little bit because they're so slow. Blink Stalkers were able to deal with it, but it does look like those drops are not going to be an option whatsoever. So I think we're just going to have to wait and see exactly what we do here to kind of get past this. MC right now off to a great start. Actually saw that he was starting his 2-2 upgrades there.
Yes.
And you can see MVP wasn't even going to be able to finish the his armor upgrade there.
Yep.
Potentially before another engagement took place.
Looks like we are most likely going to be going for take command. We're going to be resuming from replay here just to get right back into the game, since we have had a drop, which unfortunately was not able to be recovered. We should be back into the game fairly shortly, but if you think about the position that game was in right there, we're talking about MC on 140 supply, MVP just kind of barely scraping himself over 100, and MC with a tech advantage just across the board. He's got air superiority, he has Colossi with thermal lance, he's got Blink, he's got 1-1, and he's working on 2-2, which he can get finished before the Terran can, simply thanks to Chrono Boost. He's got a bigger army, he's got everything in his favor right now, and MVP needs the perfect engagement to fend this off. Otherwise, he is gonna lose. It's really that simple.
Yeah, I mean, when you see a Protoss player be that aggressive, be able to do that much damage, I mean, it's just tough. That's the only way to put it. We haven't really seen Protoss players trying to utilize these openers. We used to see a lot of Protoss players go for a Void Ray opener to bust down the entrance. It was good for a little bit. Terran players were eventually able to kind of figure that one out. But now we're starting to see the Oracle, because you don't know where the Oracle is going to be. When it was a Void Ray opener, you would always know where the Void Ray is going to be. It's going to be at the entrance of the base every single time. Now the Oracle, is it going to be at the entrance killing Marines? Is it going to be in your mineral line? Is it going to be going to the possible expansion that could be established? The Terran players have to think a lot more and try and figure out exactly where to do that defense. And unfortunately, if you make the wrong choice there, if you don't have enough, and we're going to make sure that we are doing the recover game feature to make sure that they can't see each other's builds and all that. So for those of you who do not know, Blizzard has recently added several new features. There's going to be the watching replay with friend, which we're not going to be using here. There's the one where you can jump into a game, take command, where you can jump into a game with your friends, and then there's going to be the ability, I forget the exact name of it, but
it's called Recover Game.
Recover Game, yeah.
Recover Game is designed for competitive play.
Right.
The problem with take command is that it's possible to basically see your opponent's build, and that obviously is completely suboptimal. You don't want to do that. Recover Game prevents that from happening. It's the perfect setup for the competitive environment, and that's what we're going to be using here to hopefully get right back in where we started.
Yep, so we just got to make sure that everything is all set up, that the players are ready and okay with the decision that has been made. I think, though, that we should be seeing the conclusion of that replay, or not replay, but that conclusion of the game relatively soon. I mean, I think he's about 50 supply down, maybe a little bit less than that, so it's going to be really, really tough for him to recover.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for MVP.
But you have to finish out the game. I mean, that's just how it is. There's a lot of comeback potential. And actually, I mean, we saw games earlier in the tournament where actually players were down 50, 60 supply. Crazy maneuvers get pulled, big mistakes get made, or something like that. And then all of a sudden, a game that was unwinnable has actually ended up winning. So both the players here are going to be talking to each other really quick just to make sure that they're kind of on the same page. So, all right, so I think that we are indeed going to be ready as the players looking to be good. Yep, there we go. We just want to make sure that the final confirmation is correct and ready to go. So as soon as that is done, then of course we're going to be hopping right on in. And it looks like...
All right, we are firing it back up. Click the recover button. We are recovering in exactly the time that we stopped. We're not rewinding. We don't need to. So let's see if this works.
This is my first time using this, so...
It's okay, Husky. I'll be gentle.
All right. Please be gentle. All right, it's going to be recovering right now. And remember, this is a best of 5 if you've just been tuning in. We're kind of like halfway through the event, I suppose, maybe a little bit past the halfway mark. Going to be lots of games tomorrow as well. The finals, of course, going to be taking place. The Koreans, no surprise, doing extremely well in this tournament. I believe eliminating all the foreigners at this point. I think there's Killer's left.
Yes,
I think Killer's the one that's left.
And Sen, of course.
Ah.
Sen is technically a foreigner.
Yeah, that is true. And also, you're right, because I saw him practicing not too long ago. I didn't realize if he had played his match or not. But, yeah, man, it was a tough tournament for foreigners. That is for sure. I got to say, though, I personally feel like with Heart of the Swarm coming out, it was an even playing field, which means that the Koreans are going to get so far ahead because they're starting on an even footing. Their practice regimen is amazing. They have the craziest teams, they have the craziest leagues, and they have the best practice partners there are. So that's anyone who is familiar with StarCraft, it's really no surprise that they're doing so well here in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we're just talking about players with better mechanics as well in general.
Yeah.
So when you have a game that's not figured out, the player with the better mechanics is usually the guy that wins, unless there's some sneaky stuff that goes on. So it's really been all up in the air. We've seen some very strange strategies going into this, and we'll no doubt see a lot more. All right. We are in the game right now. We're looking to resume. I believe I have the control to make that happen. I'm going to check. I actually can't because I'm an observer. I think they're ready. Yes. MC confirms ready.
All right, there
waiting
we go.
on MVP.
Go ahead and make sure. All right, it
okay,
does look.
MVP confirms ready. We are unpausing. 3, 2, 1. And here we go.
All right, so back in the game we are. They may have to redo. Oh, let's see.
MC is currently OBS.
Oh my God.
What on earth happened there? Yeah, this is not good. So it looks like we're going to have to try and we're going to have to resume that again, as it seems like for some reason it actually set MC as an observer.
Kind of confused. It shows him.
I'm not really sure how that happened, actually. That's something we're going to have a look at.
I don't know what happened on that one, so I might have to redo that.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait on an admin to sort this all out.